Welcome to the Houston Initiative's weekly Police Academy Prep. I am your host, RC, CEO and founder of the Houston Initiative. Um, this week we are talking about physical training. And I wanted to talk about physical training because from here, a lot of the submissions, the people who went to my website, which the link is in the bio, the people who went to my website and downloaded the free PDF said that one of the things they were concerned about was the physical training part, and that is normal. Listen, police academies and the training standards vary widely across the country. And when you run the whole gamut of tests really together on that day that you have to do the physical training, it can be tough. So tonight I'm going to give you an overview of what to expect, or better yet, how to train for that. But tonight we're not talking about the recruit that you think you're supposed to already be. We're talking about who you actually are right now, today, because that's the only version of you that can actually start training. So if you can do one push-up, it's one push-up. That ain't no weakness. That's just the starting line. So let's get started here tonight with our weekly prep. Like I said before, we're talking physical training. Start where you are, not where you think you should be, right? That's the key to this whole thing. And that's really how you have to think about it when you are when you're training, right? You have to start where you are. Like I said before, if it's one push-up, it's one push-up. But you have somewhere to start. If it's 10 push-ups, it's 10 push-ups. But you can't focus on where you think you should be, right? You will get there, but you cannot circumvent the work that it takes to get to that point. Welcome to class. You know how we do. Again, where you start doesn't decide where you finish. Tonight, we're talking about starting honestly, right? And we're building a real weekly training structure you can actually follow. Then you're going to want to stick around because we'll have a little quiz afterwards to see if you retain this information. As the educator, it's always important that there is information retention when we teach anything. We start with our prayer for the week. It comes from the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verses 29 through 31. This is in the New International Version. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Again, Isaiah chapter 40, verses 29 and 31 from the New International Version. Lord, let us pray. Heavenly Father, hear our prayers, right? I think that's the first thing that we should be asking for, besides thanks for giving us the first blessing of the day, Lord, but hear our prayers. Let us not stray too far from you so that we cannot hear your voice and you cannot hear ours. Lord, as it relates to this physical training, give us not only hope, but determination, willpower, not necessarily motivation to train to the standard which we need to pass the test. Lord, make concessions for us, open doors for us, give us avenues of escape, and give us the courage to say no to the things that will hinder our training as we go through our rigorous training process to get ready for that physical training test for the police academy. Lord, we thank you for everything, for our bodies, for the energy that you've currently given us, and for coming together on this live, Lord, this evening. Whoever found it was supposed to find it. And we thank you for bringing them here, Lord, as the educator. Bless me with the words so that they can not only be received by the viewers and the listeners, but also applied. These things we ask in your precious and holy name, Lord. Amen. Let's go, right? Let's go. Let's get into it. Let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time. All right. Big first thing. We've been talking about this since the very beginning. Start where you are. If you can do one push-up, that's not failure. That's your starting number, right? The Police Academy Blueprint's own beginner's guide starts at just 1 to 3 push-ups. The Police Academy Blueprint inside of the Hughes Initiative Academy, the link is in the bio, full fitness program for beginners, moderate, and advanced trainers, right? Progress beats perfection, consistency beats intensity every time. And right, if we're being honest with each other, most people never start because they compare themselves to the day one academy, right? Who you think you're going to be the first day of the academy as opposed to where you are in your own day one. And I want to jump on that progress beats perfection and consistency beats intensity. Listen to me. You have to keep showing up even when it doesn't look like anything is happening, right? Like, so right now, I'll give you a perfect example and I'll use myself. I am on a weight loss journey. Okay. Myself, I'm on a weight loss journey. And I started about 2 months ago. But for the first month and a half, the scale didn't move at all. And I fast and I eat one meal a day and I'm eating protein and vegetables and not drinking pop and all this stuff. The scale did not move. But what did I do? I kept showing up. I kept going to the gym. I kept walking. I kept doing my calisthenics. Right now, I'm in a battle with burpees, right? I'm in a battle with burpees right now. And I'm winning though, right? Because when I first started, I could barely do 3 or 5. Right now, we're up to sets of 10. So we've made progress. That's because I kept doing them. So everything that we're going to talk about tonight, everything that's inside of the Hughes Initiative Academy, the key is you have to keep going. And when we talk about consistency beating intensity, you're not going to feel like it every day. And you're not going to give maximum effort every day. But what you do have to do is do it, right? Like you have to show up, you have to work out, whatever that workout may be for the day, you have to do it. It ain't always going to be great. It ain't always going to be pretty. You're not always going to feel like it. It might be raining. It might be snowing, depending on when you're seeing this. It might be cold outside. It might be too hot. You know what? You do it at the level that you can, right? We're going to talk about running and what we need to do there. But at the same time, what you want to do is simply get better, right? And so don't put this huge burden on your shoulders to be who you think you're supposed to be. Be who you are right now, right? If you cannot run a lap, you walk it, you jog it, right? You walk it, you jog it until and you will, right? And there's one thing, you will get to the point where you're like, you know what? Let me try to run this thing today. And then you will run it. And then, the next day you might not be able to, but you come back and you do it again. And then ultimately over time is what you do is you build up your endurance, you build up your stamina, you build up your education result. I mean, not education, but your exercise resolve to do these things, right? But you have to keep showing up. Nothing may change in the very beginning. Scale might not move. Distance you can run might not move. The number of push-ups, sit-ups, wall climbs, burpees might not move at the very beginning. But you know what? There will come a day where it will. And that's the day you push yourself a little further, right? 1 push-up, next time you come back, 2 push-ups, right? 10 push-ups, 12 push-ups, something like that, right? That's how it works. And so keep showing up again, because consistency beats intensity, and right, and progress beats perfection every time. You're not going to be perfect, and that's okay. Know the standards, right? Know the standards. So as a beginner, we're starting with 18 to 20 minutes as a beginner's goal. Listen, I know what the academy standards are. I'm talking about where you are. It is fine to start at 18 to 20 minutes if this is where you're starting. And well, let me back up for a second. If you're watching this and you haven't run, you haven't done push-ups, you haven't done any of these tests, and you're 2 weeks out, I would tell you to defer. Because what I don't want is for you to go there and fail and then be defeated and never try again. Law enforcement is a very long career. Okay. It's a very long career. You have at least 2, for some departments, 3 decades to do this thing. What I want for you and what I need for you to do, because I need good people to work alongside of me, is I need for you to be prepared for your testing. So if that means you have to delay it another 6 months, then do that. Now, if you're watching this and you got a 6-month runway, right? You got 6 months, you're 6 months out, right? You're just now applying. Some departments you might take 6 months. Right? It might take a little less, but if you got some time, then you start where you are, right? And if it's right here at 18 to 20 minutes, then that's where you are. The intermediate goes 14 to 16 minutes. This is typically where the police academy standards fall. And if you want to be super, adventurous and you want to get really get to a good run time, then you start working towards 12 to 13 minutes for your mile and a half, right? I'm not saying that's flying. I think that's like 2 and some change per lap, but this is where you are. Always remember too, the department standards vary by department. Always confirm your agency's exact minimums before test day. These are the general benchmarks for your mile and a half training. So here's your weekly structure. Monday, right? We actually start on Sunday, but we'll start at the top. We start on Monday, strength. That's A, right? Upper body and core. This is, you can get some benching here, push-ups, those upper body exercises, and core work. And again, I have this as general right now, but inside of the Hughes Initiative Academy in our Police Academy Blueprint, where we go over fitness in its entirety, there are exercises and programs for you to use depending on what your fitness level is, right? Like you could be virtuous and start at the intermediate, or you can just be honest with yourself and start at the beginners, but this is what you do. So upper body on Monday. Tuesday is endurance. So that's a longer, slower run. I know in today's world, we're talking about zone 2, being able to hold a conversation while we're doing this run. This is where you do it. Wednesday is lower body and explosives. Again, inside of the Hughes Initiative Academy, we have the exercises for you there. Thursday, intervals and sprint. And I want to say something about intervals and sprints because it's important to me that you do these, because some departments have a 300-meter run. So, and that's going to be timed as well. You figure out what department you want to work for. You see what the minimum standards are for if they have a 300-meter run. But this actually will make you faster, right? Intervals and sprinting. So one of my favorite intervals on the track, right? And if you have a fear of the track, then I would say you're probably going to have to learn to love it at some point. But one of my favorite intervals is to sprint 100, walk 200, sprint 100, walk 200, sprint 100, walk 200. And then we increase it to sprint 200, walk 200, sprint 200, walk 200, ultimately getting up to that sprint 300, walk 100, sprint 300, walk 100, and then actually sprinting an entire lap. Now, when you sprint the lap, you get to walk a lap too. Just interval training, right? To build up that endurance. You're going to find that it's going to make you a faster runner when you're running your mile and a half. Also using the track if you have access to one. I know some people don't, but if you have access to the track, this is perfect for it. We have some other tips on how to break up the monotony of using the track. And if you don't have a track, listen, you can't be afraid to look silly or worry about what people are thinking about you as they walk by, as they drive by. Find out what 100 meters is wherever you can. So if that's, 3-4 blocks of your street, you got a really long open space, find out what 100 meters is and use that. And then sprint that, walk back, sprint that, walk back. You know what I mean? And to build up, because I think about you all not having access to certain things, and that's okay. But you have to be resourceful. Not everybody can afford a gym membership, right? Not everybody has access to a track. That's okay, but you got to be resourceful. There's nothing wrong with it. And we're not worrying about what people are thinking about us training, because actually what you'll find is this. people who are walking by or driving by, they're more times likely to not encourage you if they do stop and talk or think about it, right? When I see people out running or jogging or even walking and I haven't got one in, I'm like, dang, I need to be out here like them. You know what I mean? When I see people who are like really heavy and they're out walking, if I can, I'll stop and say, I'll tell them, keep going. Yep, keep going. I see you. I see you. Keep going. Keep going. You got me on your side. I'm there for you. So don't worry about what people are thinking because most times they're probably thinking something positive. And if they aren't, then they're more likely going to keep it to themselves. And if they do say something negative, you use that as encouragement, right? Like Michael Jordan, you find any old thing to get you to where you need to be. Back to our training structure. Friday, we're doing full body function. This is where I like that high intensity interval training. I think I've said it before. You find some old videos of Shaun T doing insanity. You find some beach body stuff, P90X, whatever the case may be, or you go on here. You come here on YouTube. You look on Facebook. Again, being resourceful because this is what you're going to do at the academy. You're going to do a lot of this. Saturday, my personal day of rest, right? That's the Sabbath for me. So we rest on that day. This is the day you do some stretching. And then Sunday, that's your recovery day. And it's really good that you have this. Beginner's yoga on YouTube. Yoga by Cassandra is what I use personally, me. That's one of my favorites. And so like you have this in your repertoire. This is a part of your training structure. You get stretched out so that Monday you go back into that lower body, stretched out, refreshed, ready to go, ready to give maximum effort in that training session. Yes, here we are. Some insider tips for the track. One of my favorite track hacks is this. You have 1.5 miles and that's 6 laps. When I first started, well, I've been running track for a while, but when I first started back to running on the track, it was brutal to run on the track in the same lane for 6 laps. I really almost couldn't even do it. And I remember going to my physical training test for a different department, not the one I work for. And like I was running with the group. And then I was just like, I was with the group and then it was just like, ooh, like I just fell back, right? Because I let it get into my head that I was running in the same lane the entire time. I didn't break up the monotony. So one of my favorite track hacks to break up the monotony is to run a lap in each lane. This will encourage you to keep going. And you can start in lane 1. I typically start in lane 6 and work my way down because that makes me feel better. But this is a way that you can train on that 1.5 miles. And also, if you don't have access to an app that or a watch that that tracks that stuff, this is how you can say, okay, I'm doing my 1.5 miles. Number 2 is we train for time, not distance. Listen, these tests train how fast you can get this 1.5 miles done, right? So it doesn't necessarily do you any good at that point or in your training to run excessive miles. You want to focus on being able to get that 1.5 miles done. Now, I would say at most get up to 3 miles on your endurance days, but you have to build to that, right? I'm not saying first day after you watch this, you're highly motivated. You go out on this day that you're going to run on the track, and you go out and you run 3 miles. No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. But what you want to do is be able to go beyond that 1.5 miles in your training, right? Because the way that these physical training tests work, you're gonna do all the exercises, and they pick the order, and it might be that the 1.5 miles is last, like the last thing that you've done. So you've done push-ups, you've done sit-ups, you might have to do pull-ups, wall climbs. You may have to do the 300-meter, and they're like, all right, line up, let's go, let's get ready for the 1.5 miles. You want to have a good level of endurance to get through that, even if you have to struggle through it. You want to have a good level of endurance to do that whichever way they put the test. And then insider tip number 3, calisthenics over weights. This is why I said find that Insanity or that P90X Go on YouTube, find you a 10-minute circuit, whatever the case may be, and run that. Because when you get to the academy, this is what you're going to be doing. You may have some strength tests where you test it every now and again throughout the course of your training, but I guarantee you're going to be doing push-ups, sit-ups, air squats, burpees, all of these body weight exercises. So you might as well get used to it now. And so it's not a surprise. And another hack I'll give you, which I wasn't prepared for when I went to the academy, is the intensity and the quickness with which you do them. Right? I know at the beginning you might train slow, might have to stop midway through, catch your breath, but understand when you get to the academy, your academy instructors in the physical training section are going to be in tremendous shape. And so a big part of that is making sure that you can do these exercises quickly, because that's how they're going to do them. Right? They're going to move from push-ups to sit-ups to flutter kicks to burpees and right back to push-ups, sit-ups, flutter kicks, burpees. It's going to be like really, really quick. So I don't say that to intimidate you or to scare you, but keep that in your mind as you're training. You're going to have to train the way they are. And it's going to be tough, right? Because when you first get there, they're probably going to smoke you. And we talk about what's going to happen when you get to the academy inside of the Police Academy Survival Guide. I took from my own personal experiences, and I put it all in a book for you. I've asked academy instructors how to help cadets prepare for getting there so that they don't leave in the first day or the first week because they're overwhelmed. So this Police Academy Survival Guide, click the link in the bio. It is on our website. Go ahead and get your copy so that you can get ahead of the game, so that you can go in with the right mindset and be prepared and ready to go. We talk about this fitness stuff because this is a part of the academy training that honestly, it breaks some people, right? It really does break some people because they're just not prepared. So we're doing everything here at the Houston Initiative Academy to get you ready, to get you up to speed for the academy. Okay, so here we are. It's quiz time. It is quiz time. From tonight's weekly structure, how many total training mobility days come before your first full rest day? How many training and mobility days come before your first full rest day? A, 5, B, 6, C, 7, D, 4. Let me know in the comments. Drop your answer in the comments. Let me know. Hope you were paying attention. And the answer, A, 5. Our training structure runs Monday through Friday with strength, running, and mobility work. Saturday, again, my Sabbath, is a full rest day. 5 days on, 1 day off, then back at it again on Sunday with your mobility recovery, your yoga, right? Your yoga. And I did it this way. Obviously, my Sabbath is Saturday, but Sunday is typically a lighter day for a lot of people. And I don't want to necessarily generalize that because you may work on Sunday, but this is the one day where you don't have a ton of pressure because you just got to knock out this yoga, right? You just got to knock out this yoga, get it done. Again, find it here on YouTube or on Facebook and go from there. So 5 days is the training structure, 5 days straight. Question number 2. What is the beginner goal for a 1.5 mile run walk by month 4? By month 4. Let me know your answer in the comments. 18 to 20 minutes, that's A. B, 12 to 13 and a half minutes. C is 10 minutes. D is 25 to 30 minutes. Which one did we say is our beginner's goal? What's our beginner's goal? Let me know. Drop your answer in the comments. All right? The answer is A. 18 to 20 minutes. The beginner's benchmark is 18 to 20 minutes. This is where you start. Listen, it's not about where you start. It's about where you finish, right? So if you start at 20 minutes and by month 4, you've got it down to 18 minutes, that there, my friends, is called progress, right? Like you're doing the right thing. All you have to do is keep going, because what you'll find is actually you'll probably fly through 17 minutes, 16 minutes, right? because you've been working at it. So you're going to wake up one day and you're going to go out there and you're going to pace yourself in that first mile, right? You're going to pace yourself for those first 5 to 10 minutes. And then you're going to be like, all right, let me push it a little bit. Let me see if I can knock off a couple seconds here. And then you're going to find that you can. And then you may find the next time you go out, you're not able to repeat that, but you know that you have it in you. So you keep going with it. Question number 3, what does the weekly structure recommend for run days? Is it A, run every single day? B, run 2 days, 3 strength days, 1 mobility day, 1 rest day? C, 1 day total? Or D, 7 strength days? Like, what are we talking about when we say running? What are we talking about when we say running? Which one do we say is the best? The answer is B. 2 run days, 3 strength days, 1 mobility day, 1 rest day. Running every day burns you out, raises your injury risk. Recovery is a part of training, not a break from it. It's a part of training, not a break from it. One of the greatest things I found, and I'll harp on it again, was yoga prior to going to the academy. Really, really helped me loosen up and actually gain more in my other training because I was doing it. Now, me personally, I lift 3 days. I walk and run 2 days, and then I do yoga 2 days. So I'm, 7 days a week. But on my Sabbath, that's a rest day for me, and I do yoga on that day as well now. So, but for you, training for the academy, because I'm past that point, but for you, you need that full rest day off, right? Take that full rest day and give your body some time to recover. And then again, we work with the yoga on Sundays for you all so that you're not jumping right back into it, like ease into it, right? Just ease back into your training on a Sunday with the yoga. But for our training structure, 2 run days, 3 strength days, 1 mobility day, 1 rest day, okay? Remember the run days, 1's endurance, 1's interval sprints, all right? 1 endurance, 1 interval sprint day. Question number 4, right? To really drive this point home, why do we favor calisthenics over weightlifting for PT prep? Is it A, academy test bodyweight movements like push-ups, running, not weightlifting? B, weights are too expensive, which sometimes they can be. C, calisthenics build bigger muscles faster. Or D, weightlifting is banned at the academy. Which one are we using? Answer is A. We're using body weight movements because that's what they test for at the academy. I'm telling you now, folks, do not spend a ton of time lifting weights, lifting big weights, trying to build up a massive amount of strength per se. Because at the academy, they're not going to necessarily be concerned with that. You're going to do a lot of calisthenics and you're going to run. That's what you're going to do. Some academies you swim, but that's what you're going to do. Some academies you might not touch a weight bench. Okay? It's good to do some, but that's not your primary focus. And what you're doing there, in my opinion, if you're lifting weights still, is low weight, more reps, again, building up that muscle endurance, but nothing beats just doing the push-ups. Nothing beats just doing the push-ups. Again, if you have to start on your knees, start on your knees. Start with 2 sit-ups. Start with 3 sit-ups. Start with a burpee. It does not matter where you start. It is about where you finish prior to your physical training test, right? You want to get yourself to a much better level of physical endurance and physical strength the way that the academy needs you to be. Now, when you get out of the academy, you can continue to do what you did at the academy, or you can lift weights, or you can do both, right? The goal is to get to the stage, right? The goal is to get to that stage so that you can get that badge and the career that you all are seeking. That's what we want to do. So the answer is A. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this was just the warm-up, right? I pulled this stuff from inside of the Police Academy Blueprint inside the Houston Initiative Academy, right? So everything that I teach, I'm pulling from there. Whether it be concept or direct questions, I'm pulling from there. Like that's where all of this stuff lives. And what we do is we remove the fog from in front of you, right? So you're standing here, you're looking down, and you can't see that graduation stage, right? Because there's fog, because you don't know about what to do with the written exam or the oral interview or the background or the polygraph or the med psych, or how to do on your first year on the job. We have something for all of that. Okay. And if you're watching this and you're already into the process and you've gotten through your civil service exam and your background's coming up, well, then you probably need the background readiness checklist, right? Where I will work with you to make sure that your background is ready to go. I will tell you where the red flags are and how to address them, whether it's actually doing something or how to explain them, right? That background readiness checklist, that is also a one-on-one consultation that I do with you. So click the link in the bio, join the Hughes Initiative Academy, and let's get started preparing together, right? We keep pounding that rock until it breaks, right? We do not quit. We just keep going. Whatever challenges we may face, whatever hurdles we may have, we just jump over them and we keep going. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining me. And if tonight reached you, do one thing for me before we close this thing out. Write down which day this week you're getting started. Not someday, an actual day. Right? That's the difference between the people who make it into the academy and the people who don't. Right? The people who do start before they feel ready. I started before I felt ready. And if you want more than just a once a week class, if you're someone who needs someone in your corner or wants someone in your corner to check on you personally, help you build on your weak spots, then that lives inside the Hughes Initiative Academy. There's a lot of self-paced material, plus again, the live coaching call with me. When you need one, the link is in the bio. And again, we keep pounding that rock until it breaks. I will see you next Tuesday. Thank you for joining me. I have a